General David Garcia. He is from Las Fresnas, so he's a local boy. He enlisted in the Air Force way back when, before you were even born, guys. Went to Vietnam. Spent several years in the Air Force. Got out, got smart, went to Texas A&M, premier school, became a Marine officer. He has served in every billet there's possible as a Marine. Platoon commander, rifle platoon commander, company commander in a infantry unit, battalion commander, regimental commander. Then he's done all the other jobs that you expect of a general officer, from joint billets down south in Panama, to doing drug interdiction and other things, to running operations in Afghanistan. Now you talk to guys like me, and you wonder about Major General Garza. One of his greatest things that he did was with his regiment, they're training in the Mojave Desert. So you're going full speed in the Mojave Desert. The ops are going all the time. You're cycling through things. And he got a phone call, pack up your regiment. You're going to Afghanistan. He packed up his regimental headquarters and shifted 4 days later, heading to Afghanistan. This man is seeing it, he talks it, he believes it, so he's going to give you his words. Our second guest today, he's from Dallas, Texas. He's a Naval Academy graduate, infantry officer by trade, 3 tours in Iraq, Fallujah and Ramadi, not pleasant places. Then became a Marine Raider, Special Operations. Goes to Afghanistan, runs his platoon up north, gets wounded, spends the next year in the hospital recovering, medically retired. What do you think he does? Do you think he cries and says, well, my life is ruined? No, he rebounds. And he goes to Duke University, gets his MBA.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you so very much. MMA, I'm going to use a few notes. I want to make sure that I pay attention to my protocols so that we thank everybody for all they do for you. So to Colonel Chris Dowling, whom I've known for quite a while, but I haven't seen for a while, Sergeant Major Bass. It's amazing when we come together, where we've been together, and the things we've done. Great stories and lies. You know how it goes. To our civilian instructors and our military staff, can I thank you enough for what you do for the development of these young men? So important, regardless of what country they belong to. It is so important for them, for their nation, and for the international game that we play. It's also great to share the platform today with my assistant battle buddy instructors, Colonel Jeff Kinney, and I haven't seen Jeff in a long time. Ran into him at the hotel this morning. Major Tim Lynch, I've seen. He and I met before. He's a former Navy man, and I think it's always good when you have mixed service time. So he did 6 years in the Navy and then transferred over to the Marine Corps. He's retired in McAllen now. First Sergeant Jeffrey Williams, Sergeant Major Michael Ryan, 2 senior staff NCOs, to impart their wisdom on you. So you'll hear leadership from the officer side and from the enlisted side. But the important thing to remember is that our leadership is constant. So my goal for today is to help you understand the Marine Corps process of leadership. We have a leadership process, and we want to impart this to you. Okay? And at the end of my presentation, and I'm going to use picture slides to tell the story, to give you principles that I want you to remember. We're going to build a leadership house for you. Your leadership house, okay? That's where I'm going with this. So as you see me building up the slides, it's going to be pronto. I've got 8 slides because I need to let Josh come in and tell you his story. It's a powerful story. We don't talk enough about rebound. keep moving, resiliency, and plan B. Okay? And just think of plan B this way. When you have your blind and you have your chair out there and you're going to your blind to go hunt and you look up at your chair and there's a big old bear in your chair. Yeah, baby, that's plan B. Okay? So he will cover that for you. I need somebody to dispense coins this morning. Who is that? You? All right, let's go. He volunteered. I like volunteers. All right. What's your name? Davis. Where are you from? Florida? All right. I like Florida. My wife's from Florida. Yeah. All right. I got 30 coins. 30 Marine Corps Honor Courage Commitment coins. So I'm going to ask questions. So whoever answers the question correctly gets a coin. If they don't get it correctly, you and I do push-ups. Now I gotta warn you, I'm kind of an older guy, so I can only do one push-up at a time, so you'll have to do the other push-ups for me. Sounds good? All right. Now I'm gonna ask you also, you have a responsibility here. If a young man does not answer the question correctly, or when he answers the question, I'm gonna come to you, Davis, and I'm gonna say, okay, Davis, does he get a coin or not? So you have a responsibility. Your judgment's gonna be your call. Right? Now here's the key. When in doubt, give him a coin. You understand? All right. So the first coin is to you for being volunteer. All right? All right? That's your coin. All right? All right, now, here we go. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get going. Sit down. Yes. Slide. Okay, this is my agenda today. All right? Show you how our leadership process works, it's a building block approach. At the end, I want to show you a leadership house. My battle buddy instructors are going to take that leadership house and they're going to break down the core values, leadership traits, leadership principles, and leadership discussion, okay? All I'm doing is setting the stage. All right? Make sure it's in. First question. What's leadership? Stand up. That's a good definition. What grade are you in? Ninth grade? That's well done. Davis. Go ahead, right? Don't reach into Davis, okay? All right. Okay? Do you like that definition? Okay? Is there another definition for leadership? In the back, right there.
So I think leadership is the easiest way to do the success thing, sir.
Hit me again, please.
It's the easiest way to do the success thing, sir.
Okay, what do you think, Davis? Yeah. Yeah. All right. Is there another definition for leadership? Right there. Yeah, you. The ability to lead and guide others to what? To complete the task. What do you think, Davis? Yeah, I think he did a pretty good job. You know, Davis, I like you already, Davis. But you know, Davis, if you run out of points, you're going to have to see my chief of staff, my wife, but she's the one to buy. All right? Okay, so what's the message here? What's the message? Stand up. Oh, okay. The message is, hit me again, loud.
Help others to get things done while
Yeah, so he's talking leadership being an enabling capability, which is exactly correct. All right? We have to enable, influence, and accomplish the mission while enabling others, right? So leadership is inclusive, right? All right, good. It's a good start. Now let me show you a definition for one of our commandants, our 13 commandant slide. All right, General Lejeune. He holds a prominent place in our Marine Corps. We refer to a lot of his documents. Look at his definition of leadership. All right, look what he says. He says leadership is the sum qualities, okay, of those qualities of intellect. All right, intellect, your ability to connect the dots. Okay? Human understanding, behavior, human dynamics, moral character, right and wrong behavior. You with me so far? Okay? And then he says, in order to, he doesn't say that, but that's what it means. In order to enable what he was talking about, okay, a person to inspire, control a group of people successfully. You like that definition?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I like it too. But there's many definitions of leadership. That was a Marine Corps definition of one of our most famous commandants. Now let me show you another definition from the United States Army, the latest manual on leadership, Field Manual FM 622. All right? And watch what the difference is. We say in this definition, and I say we because we're a joint team. Remember that point. It's not the Marine Corps fighting by itself. It is the Marine Corps, the Army, the Navy, the Coast Guard, the Air Force, all of us together. So it's good to learn from each other. It's good to understand what they're preaching on leadership. The Army New Leadership Manual, which came out in 2015, says that leadership is a learning process. Teaching point number 1, leadership is a learning process. Leadership is learned behavior. You didn't see that in Lejeune's definition, did you? Did you? Now, I guarantee you that if you were alive today and you would ask General Lejeune, he would say, of course I believe that leadership is learned behavior. But he didn't say it back then in his definition. So we're not throwing strikes at the old man, okay? Just showing you a different way. Look at the clarity of this definition. That's why I like it. Leadership is a learning process, learned behavior that provides 4 actions to accomplish 2 organizational effects. That's the power and the beauty of this simple definition. 4 actions. Purpose, the reason for you to pursue the goals. Whose goals? Yours or the team's? That's right. Direction, clear intent, and standards. Who are the keepers of the standards? Who are the keepers of the standards, MMA?
The leaders.
Who said the leaders? All right, stand up. All right, where's my battalion commander? Stand up. Who are the keepers of the standards? Just the leaders? The entire corps. Ladies, the entire corps. You understand? You, me, the instructors, everybody has to do their part. We all must uphold the standards. You understand? Okay? All right, we'll come back to you. All right. The third action is motivation. Align your goals with my goals. Align your goals with Colonel Dowling's goals. Align your goals with the mission of this cabinet. You understand? Okay? Your goals do not come first. The academy mission is first. If we follow the academy mission, all these wonderful instructors will teach you and bring you and pull you and galvanize you. And we'll get you to the finish line and you will be the better for it. Because when we play team ball, everybody learns more, everybody grows more, and we accomplish more. That's the power of teamwork. You see what I'm saying? All right. And the last thing is influence. Influence is get people to act. So there's similarities in the definitions, but there's one huge big difference, and that is that I want you to remember this. Leadership is learned behavior. And while you're here, you're going to learn, and keep on learning. Leadership dynamics never stops. You're never too old to learn. You understand? Okay. Now, how do we get to learn? How do we get to learn these 4 actions to accomplish 2 organizational effects, which is the other part of this? Purpose, direction, motivation, influence, in order to accomplish the mission efficiently, effectively, and improve the organization. Leave the academy better than you found it. You understand? All right? Okay, now, so what do we have to teach you to get you there? Slide. Okay, in military service, we follow a system of leadership called values-based leadership. Values-based leadership. Now, we're not the only organizations that do that. Values-based leadership is also found in many businesses across America. Caterpillar Corporation, USAA Insurance Company and Banking Company, Microsoft. All right, why do we use values-based leadership? Somebody, all right?
Because if the leader is upholding the standard, then everyone else will see that they can't sign off either.
Okay, what do you think, Dave? You think it's good? All right, good comment, Dave. Is there another reason why we follow values-based leadership? Yes, sir.
So that not just the leader, but everyone knows what they should.
Okay, so that everyone, not just the leaders, knows what they should or should not do. What do you think, Dave? Yeah. Huh? You thinking about that? Everything turning right? All right, keep it going. Okay. There's 3 human qualities that we are going to teach you while you're here. It's going to be constant. They're fundamental for your development. Okay? Character, presence, intellect. The reason we in the military use values-based leadership is because we want to imbue upon you a set of values and principles and traits that will become a part of your persona. Because we want to develop in you a deployable warrior mindset. And wherever we deploy you to, whether it's recruiting duty, whether it's Latin America, whether it's the Pacific, whether it's Europe, whether it's the Middle East, you take your deployable warrior mindset with you, and you will immediately, in any environment, apply the values-based model that we show you. You with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay? Let's take a look at character. These are just some of the traits that we want to develop in you. This is not all inclusive. Your moral and ethical qualities, your core values and traits. We're going to talk about that next. Your leadership competencies. The instructors are going to talk to you about that and the traits. Example of fitness under presence. Fitness, very important because it gives you stamina, because you get nervous energy, because you need it for daily operations and in times of stress and combat. Your ability to inspire others. If you're not motivated about MMA, then who do you expect to be? It starts with you. The instructors will motivate you. You have to motivate yourself. And then you need to pass the baton to others to keep the pipeline going, coming to MMA. You with me?
Yes, sir.
Uphold the standards. We talked about it. When we lay down on the standards, we have no standards. When we have no standards, you don't have a winning team. We, as leaders, must always work towards building a winning team. All right, look at intellect. Your intellect. Conceptual abilities. Connect the dots. Starts up here. Problem-solving skills. Every great leader that I know is a very good problem solver. I'm going to show you a 6-step process to make you a very good problem solver. All right? We also have a leadership course here where you're going to participate. And then sound decision making. The last part, the intellect, is very important for your development. Make sure you learn everything you can here under these instructors to be a very good conceptual thinker, a very good problem solver, a very good decision maker. It starts now. Hey, listen, I went to Los Angeles High School. It was a great high school. My principal was a retired Marine veteran, combat veteran in Vietnam, Mr. J.C. Shanks. Fabulous role model. As good as he was, we never had a formal leadership instruction at Los Angeles. My first leadership instruction, formal instruction, was when I joined the service. You don't know how good you had it. MMA, you got it good. Real good. Okay? Now, you with me? You still with me? Sure. All right. 3 human qualities. Okay. On the first one, character. We talked about core values. What do core values do?
Core values teach leaders how to be a leader. If you don't know how to be a leader, you can't be a leader.
All right, keep it going. See? Your judgment's on display today, you know? The instructors are watching you, Davis, and they're going, you know, Davis has real good judgment. Huh? Yeah, I'm going to call your mother in Florida. Yeah, I'm going to call your mother in Florida and say, yeah, Davis is doing good. All right? What else do core values do? Right there. Yeah. You. Speak up.
They will help you your personal life, and if you follow them, then you'll become a great leader.
Are you a freshman? What are you? Say again?
Second grade, sir.
Okay, I like the way you're thinking. I like the way you're thinking. See, this is why it's so important to help you conceptualize, help you think, help you develop. All right? Good. Give them going. All right, what else do? All right, over there. Glasses.
Sir, the core values are honor, and all of them show us how to be a good leader, teach us for our character.
Okay, say it again loud, please.
Sir, isn't the core value honor, commitment, and that will help us instill good leadership with everyone and be
Okay, so he's immediately made the jump. I asked the question, what do core values do? He made the jump, right? He's connecting the dots already. The question was, what do core values do? He gave me his take on it, and then he connected it to our core values, which is honor, courage, and commitment. You see? That's a pretty good leap. What do you think, David? All right. Okay. Let's take a look at what core values do. They define an organization. They define who MMA is. They guide daily performance, and we discussed your daily performance. All right? Honor, courage, and commitment are our core values, and think of them as a code of ethics. You understand? You understand code of ethics?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, look at the third bullet. They provide a bond between me as a Marine and all the other services. What service did I start in? The Air Force. I was an engineer. Heavy equipment engineer. All right? We must have respect for the other services. We do not fight alone. It is one beautiful joint team. And we have the greatest joint team in the world. You with me?
Yes, sir.
It's a bond of mutual respect. Don't forget that. They need us, we need them. Look at the last one. A bridge between our past and our future. Adelante. Where we're going. What did we celebrate last Wednesday here?
So we celebrated Alphonse.
Stand up. Come and take a one. I like the way you jumped up. You know what? I asked you to stand up and answer because I want to see your courage in action. Because you're here to think and act. Okay? Okay, that was a good answer, but it's a wrong answer, okay? But I love the way you responded. Yes, sir. When did we celebrate? We had a what? That's right. How many years ago? 75. Give both a coin. All right? You see where I'm going with this? You see where I'm going? All right? A bridge between the past and the future. Stepping stone. Don't forget that. You with me? Yes, sir. All right. Define, guide, bond, bridge. All right. Good. All right. And we identified our 3 core values as? There you go. Honor, courage, commitment. All right. Now, I'm building your leadership house. So we established a floor. And that floor is honor, courage, commitment, your code of ethics. Slide. Okay, now, to that code of ethics, to that floor, we add 14 leadership traits that my battle buddies are going to discuss with you. I want you to focus, though, on the floor and the coat of armor around this picture. Who is this? Who is the picture?
We got the sergeant officer.
Do you believe or do you know?
Thanks for making.
Think so is not the answer. Do you believe or do you know?
I don't know what's in here.
Huh?
That's interesting.
That's a way to be confident in your response. If you know, say so. If you don't know, say I don't know. There's nothing wrong with saying I don't know. That's how we learn. Okay? That is First Sergeant dragging us out in Fallujah in the clearing operation. When 3 of his Marines were trapped in an insurgent killing house. And he embodied all of the leadership traits and principles that we're going to teach you to go rescue his Marines. And in the process, he was wounded 7 times, bullet wounds, and 44 fragmentation grenade wounds. And he almost bled to death. Those 2 Marine Landscopers pulled him out, saved his life. He just retired. I had the great pleasure, my wife and I, having dinner with him in Iowa when there was something we couldn't do. All right? But what I want you to focus about this is, look at on the top, the mirror test. You see that phrase there? What do you think the mirror test means when I show you that? Stand up. All right, that's not what I'm looking for. Okay, right there. What's the mirror test? Think of what we're doing. 3 core values, 14 leadership traits that you all are going to break down. But what's the mirror test?
To put your core values on other people so that they know what they value most.
Okay, to put your core values on others so you know what to value most. That's not what I'm thinking about. All right, right there. What is the mirror test? Think. Huh? Okay, I like the word reflect a lot. All right, but not on others. When you get in front of the mirror, what do? Stay up.
It's being able to examine your own actions and make judgments.
Bravo! Give them those 2. Yeah. All right. Okay, you see what we did here? All right. This is called battle buddy thinking. Battle buddy thinking. One stood up and used a key word, reflect. And then the other battle buddy jumped up and finished the top 4 in it. You see that? It works everywhere you go. In any department you go. It works in combat. It works in administration. It works in education. Bounce your ideas off someone else. You with me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. Now, we got a floor. We got our code of ethics, our code of armor. Slide. There's your leadership house. There's your deployable warrior mindset leadership house. Core values and character traits on the bottom. We're going to discuss those. And in the center are your rooms. Those are leadership guiding principles to help you plan, organize, and execute the plan of action for every day. Okay? Colonel Ken's going to discuss that for you. All right? These are just 11. As you grow in leadership, you'll add more rooms in your house. Look at the bottom in blue. That room, what does it say? Learn, adapt, and grow. What do you think that means?
Sir, obviously that means we can always develop our leadership and do what's happening.
That is correct. Remember, what did we say? All right, think back, stand up. You with the hand up. Yeah, you. What did we say? Let's see how well you were listening. What did we say the Army definition of leadership was? What was the first line? Think. 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 The first line. Think. Somebody help them up. You. Stand up. Stay up.
Leadership to the learning process.
There you go. Remember that?
After leadership to learning process.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. They just give both of them a coin. Hey. Atención. All right? Pay attention. Your eyes, your mouth, and your ears. Grab the idea. Image it in your mind. It's the power of imaging. So you can reflect it back. So you can push it back to me. You with me? All right. Okay. All right. So when I talk to you about leadership and building your leadership house, all of you, when you leave here, all of you, each of you, are going to have a leadership house. Some will be more developed than others. Do you understand? But our teachers will make sure that you graduate with a leadership house. You with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. And we're never too old to learn, adapt, and grow. It's one of the key principles in counterinsurgency warfare doctrine, but really, it's a key principle for life. You with me? Yes, sir. All right. Is that? Now you're in trouble then, huh? We got 10 coins left, he tells me. You better tell it to my wife. Hey? Oh, you want her to get some more? Hey, Dad, he wants you to get some more. The young cadet says, Mama, get some more. I don't think it's going to fly, Davis. You don't think so either? You're a smart man, Davis. You're going to go a long way. Okay, now, if I were to tell you, listen to the question. What are the factors necessary to have present in leadership? What would you tell me? Right there.
You need to control things like the leading, so carry out orders, commands, and get stuff done.
Okay, I like what you said. I like what you said. Stay up. All right?
I think the factor in leadership urges variation and leadership so that you can make your organization influence by your actions.
Okay, Cardenas. All right. He gave me the leadership definition back to me. That's good. I like that. And I like what you said too. Give both the coin. Now, take a look at the slide. I asked you a question, and the slide and information is before you. I said, what are the 4 elements? I didn't say 4. I said, what are the elements necessary for a leadership situation, right? All right, what are they? Now think. Think. What do you need first? Huh? Follower? A situation? All right. So we have a situation first. And then to that situation we apply what? A leader. And then to that leader we give what? Followers. And then what's the process that makes everything cook? Yes, communication. That interaction. That interaction of human dynamics between you and me. Okay? It's so important. So important. A situation, apply a leader, apply followers, okay? Apply a very keen, open, mutual respect communication process so we listen to each other, and we can learn, adapt, and grow. And then what are we working towards all the time? Let's say it out. Leadership trust. The oval in the center. You with me? You think that because I'm a general, when I walk in here with you, I get instant respect? I have to first give you my respect. If I want to earn your trust, I first have to give you my respect. Okay? We say in the Marine Corps we have a special handshake between the officer corps and the staff and SEAL corps. A special handshake. That special handshake is based on trust. Mutual respect and trust. And I guarantee you, also listened to that for 4 years, no mutual respect, no trust. Very difficult to get things done without leadership trust. You with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, question.
Why do you, as a leader, give somebody your respect and then give back?
Okay, that's a good question. What if I, as a leader, gives respect and I don't get it back? What do? What do you think we do? Stand up.
I don't know, talk to the person and tell them you're giving them your respect so they can kind of think like, I need to give this person their respect back.
Okay, Rodriguez, I agree with that. All right, so this process of mutual respect, when I give it to you and you don't return it, I have to continue the conversation, just like you said. I have to continue working with you to make you understand that as a leader I have responsibilities, and so do you as a follower. And in order for the team to work, we both have to align our goals for the team mission. Right? And that oil there for the friction, the oil for the friction is mutual respect. Think of mutual respect as oil for the friction. Communications is the process to provide the oil for the friction in any circumstance. You with me? Give him a coin. Rodriguez. Okay. Remember this. 4 factors. Leadership trust is very important. Okay, go to problem solving. All right. El martillo. Huh? You understand martillo?
Yes, sir.
What does it mean? Hammer. Okay. Teaching point number 1. Every problem cannot be solved with a hammer. Right? So don't take a hammer to every problem and start beating the crap out of it and think you're going to solve the problem. Okay? Every problem first starts with you. La cabeza. With you. Think. Alright? That's the most important thing you can do to solve the problem. Now, in the Marine Corps, in the military, we have a 6-point process. It's a wonderful process. You can use it for anything. Vacation. Anything. Your marriage when time comes. Not right now. Not right now. Okay? Forget about it. Right? But it's very, very practical because it takes you from framing to options to decisions. Remember the intellect piece? Character, presence, intellect. And we talked about cognitive skills, connecting the dots, decision making and making a good decision. Remember that? Okay, this is how you do it. Alright? We teach you how to do this. It's a 6-step process. It's very easy to do. Alright? Colonel down there and the team will teach you this, but it works. And the most important thing you can do as a young man is the first step, is frame the problem correctly so that you don't think you can use a hammer and beat it. Alright? And how you frame a problem is by asking 5 questions. What are the 5 questions?
What, where, when, who, and why.
Say it again out loud.
What, where, when, who, and why.
Yeah. Alright? That's your framing guidance right there. Once you do that, then you can apply the other steps. Get the information, identify courses of action, choose the best course of action, red team it, then apply the decision, and then have the courage to change the decision if your course of action is not working out correctly. You understand? Alright, and we're gonna ask you to do this when you go to the leadership obstacle course. So when you go there, remember this 6-step process. Alright? Every great leader needs to be a great problem solver because it takes you from framing to options to sound decisions. For you, for your family, for this institution, for your country. You with me?
Sir.
All right. Take me to, Staff Sergeant, take me to, next slide. All right. I got 2 more slides. This is the next slide. Now, our battle buddies are going to talk to you about all the other traits. Which trait in our Marine Corps leadership process is covered twice?
Courage, sir.
Courage. What is courage?
Courage is the ability to face fear and say that.
Wow. Okay. Very good. Wait a minute. All right, good. All right. Fear. Did you hear what he said? Face fear. Is that it? What else? Let's see. Over there. He said fear. Okay, I like what you said. Even when you're afraid something's going to happen. What's the word for being afraid of being challenged when something's going to happen? What's the word? It starts with a C. No. He said fear. Concern. That's not the word. Think. Doing what's right despite the consequences of your actions. And when your actions are being challenged, almost. I don't like your actions. Contested now, CR. Criticize. Who said it? Stand up. Stand up. All right, so you had it. You had part A. Courage is identifying fear and criticism. And then having the mental, moral, physical strength. Strength. There's a part missing there on purpose. Mental, physical, moral strength for you to overcome your fear and your criticism and continue the mission with calmness and firmness. You understand? All right, how many coaches do we have? Give each one, those 4 that are standing up. Give them everything else. All right? Those are all good things to have. All right, now, I told you from the get-go, think and act. think and act. All right, when Josh comes up here, ask Josh about courage, battlefield courage, okay? Battlefield courage. Now look, fear is a reaction, and how do we cross the bridge to courage? Training. Training is your bridge. That's what you're doing right now. Education, training, rehearsals, good decisions, bad decisions. That's the bridge. That's the bridge. Remember that. Okay? Courage also is what did we say about leadership? What did we say leadership is? Learning experience, learned behavior. Courage is also learned behavior. All of us that are senior now, all of us had to learn courage. All of us. The colonel, myself, all my instructors, all of us had to learn courage. How do we do it? Education, training, experience, good decisions, bad decisions, scenario role playing, okay? All right, one more slide. Okay, and what's the end state? Yeah. Everything we do in the Marine Corps is for a teamwork function. Coming together as a team, putting your goals aside for the betterment of the mission, looking outward, not inward. All right? It's about people and resources in an environment across time to accomplish a mission. Now, here's what I want you to do. See yourself in this picture. Pay attention to this picture. That's you. That's you, my friends, in the future. And we need you. We need each of you. Wherever you go, whatever you do, we need you in that picture. You understand? We need you in this picture. The leader is the one that integrates all of it to put you in a position of advantage always. And you will be handling these humongous pieces of equipment just like we learned how to do it. You will be doing it. Trust me, you will. Remember this picture. You need to be in this picture. One more slide. And leadership is all about building winning teams, just like MMA. A winning team with a great mission statement that has leadership in it. A winning team with a foundation of values like you have here. A winning team with a core of civilian and military instructors like you have here. A winning team that took the time to put leadership on the curriculum like you do here. A winning team of many nations coming together so you start thinking joint right here, right now. And a leadership definition that says you as a leader must provide, number one, it's the learning process, purpose, direction, motivation, and influence in order to effectively and efficiently accomplish the mission and improve the organization. You with me? Okay. All right. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. Chris?
This gentleman now is going to talk to you. A business leader, a Marine, a combat veteran, overcoming. Medically retired. So Major Glover, why don't you come on down here, sir?
Thank you. All right, I need a show of hands here. I've heard a lot about this place. I grew up in Dallas. I've never been down here. How many of you, and shoot straight, it's not like a trick question. Who plans to go in the service? Hands up. Okay. Who doesn't? All right. That is fantastic. What are the rest of you going to do? Because, I mean, there's not a third option. Who's going to go in service? All right. Who thinks so? Probably won't. Again, not a trick question. Okay, great. I've had an opportunity to wear the uniform for about 11 years. I've been out now for about a decade, and I would say that is the best thing that I could have seen right now, because we need you in uniform, right? America's sons and daughters need you in uniform, giving them good leadership. We also need you in our communities, right? Desperately. We need you leading businesses, playing a role in communities where your kids are going to go. So I'm excited to see the fact that after years here, getting a formal framework for leadership, right? Understanding how to develop yourself, how to lead people well, how to be resilient, that you're going to go maybe in uniform or maybe in our communities and help make this country or the countries where you're from a better place. So that's awesome. So know yourself, seek self-improvement. Is that familiar? Okay, thank you. I know myself. All right, I was a grunt. Before that, I played football and I boxed, so I have to keep it simple. All right? So I'm going to ask you to leave here. I want you to remember 3 things. All right, I'm going to try to make 3 points that I want you to take out of here. That's it. All right, I'm going to keep it really simple. And I'm going to share 3 kind of chapters of my life where leadership, being resilient, right, being adaptable, all right, figuring out what your mission is and doing it well, where that has played out with those 3 things. That's it. Pretty simple. Okay, and the Colonel had some really nice words about me. This is not about me. This is about you guys in your journey and what you're going to do for this country or for your country. But I have had a pretty unique experience, right? Was able to be a grunt for a while. Spent a while in Capitol Hill at 8th and I. Had an awesome opportunity at MARSOC. Had a zigzag problem, so I was medically retired. You know what a zigzag problem is? I zig my shizag. You guys gotta chill out with me a little bit. So that was a joke. That's about as good as I can do. All right. I zigged when I shouldn't zag. I was medically retired, and then I decided I wanted to pursue a new mission, and that was to represent my generation of veterans in the business community. So for me, if you look at my career trajectory, it does not necessarily make sense on paper. I remember sitting in your shoes at your age. And you look at where am I going to go to college, what sport am I going to do, how am I going to prepare for this test, and it's very easy to put a ton of pressure on yourself. Just if I can figure it out, you're going to be just fine, okay? So I'm going to leave you here with 3 things. And the first is actually, ties back to a story of a conversation I had. And I'm not going to sit up here and tell a bunch of gunfight stories, though they're fun. This is actually a conversation I had with a mentor of mine, a guy named Jeremy, who was several years ahead of me at the Naval Academy, who looked out for me like a brother. And Jeremy had done fantastic things. He graduated from the Naval Academy. He became an infantry officer. He did well as an infantry officer, and he got into Force Recon, right? And before the war really started, if you're meeting second lieutenant in the infantry, you want to go to recon, right? Your time in the infantry, you go to recon. So I met with Jeremy when I had just finished all my initial training in the Marine Corps. So I graduated from Annapolis, put in 4 hard years there, right? The country invested in me, gave me a great education, gave me some awesome opportunities that I still don't think I really deserved. And then in Quantico for a year, I had fantastic instructors like Colonel Kenny, who's here, who's actually the director of infantry officers course when I was a knucklehead second lieutenant there. I went through the basic school, I went through the infantry officers course, I had all this training, and I got the opportunity to take over a rifle platoon. There's 42 Marines and sailors, and that is the thing I had been chasing, right? The Naval Academy during my initial training, and I sit down with Jeremy, this guy I really looked up to, who had taken a trajectory I thought I wanted to take, and I sat down with him in an establishment in Pacific Beach in the San Diego area, and I had just checked into my unit. I actually had not even met my platoon yet. And I sat down with Jeremy and said, tell me what's going on. I said, well, man, look, wrapped up TBS, wrapped up IOC, got my platoon, it's going to be great. But whatever. Jeremy, tell me how I get to recon. And this guy that I love like a brother looked at me across the table and he said, Josh, for the first time since I've known you, I'm really disappointed in you. Because you have the opportunity to command a rifle platoon, and there's not a single officer at Camp Pendleton that would not trade places with you, right? You want to go to recon, you do all these other things, that's fantastic. It starts with leading that platoon well. You've been entrusted with that platoon, you have a responsibility to them. So right now your mission is to be the best platoon commander in the 1st Marine Division. And if you can pull that off, maybe you get to do these things you want to do, but it is not about you. It's about those Marines whose safe care that you've been entrusted with, and that's your primary mission. But typically, the guys who focus on being the best platoon commander in the division get some good opportunities down the road. Jeremy's not with us anymore, and I think about that conversation and what impact that's had on me. It's very easy, as you sit here where you are today, to think, well, where am I going to go to college, right? And when you get to college, you're going to say, well, where's my job going to be, right? And you get in uniform, it's very easy as a brand new officer to say, well, how am I going to make sure I command a squadron or a battalion or a ship, right? Guys, the journey to accomplish all those things starts now. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to leave here with is just, I want you to be present, okay? Now my wife sometimes, like if I'm watching SportsCenter, she's trying to talk to me, she tells me to be present, I mean that too. What I'm trying to say is, if you have goals, if you have big things you want to accomplish in life, you will get where you want to go by doing really well where you are. right? And since that conversation with Jeremy, I've taken that approach in the infantry at MARSOC, at 8th and I. I went from 3 combat deployments, and I was at 8th and I, and talking with the colonel, and I found myself after my 3rd deployment in charge of the grounds at 8th and I, which is like the guys that like mow the grass, right? And I really didn't want to do that for long, but I realized if I want to go do something else, if I want to continue to grow and develop, I'm going to be the best damn groundskeeper officer this place has ever seen, right? I don't know why that grass is brown, but I can figure it out. You know what I mean? So for me, the lesson I learned there, and that I would ask you all to take, especially given the unique situation that you have. You don't have a lot of other distractions, right? You just saw a leadership playbook that I've been trying to figure out since I was 18, and I'm just starting to figure out, right? You have the opportunity to immerse yourself in these leadership principles, develop yourself into a fantastic young man, and really build a foundation that will go with you no matter where you go in life, okay? So my first challenge to you is to just really be present, okay? The other piece that I would say with that, if you do decide to go into the service, right? You're picking a path as a leader in the service, whether that's the officer route, whether that's the enlisted route, where you are going to make some very difficult decisions, okay? That's the price of command, that's the price of being a leader, that's the price of getting to be in charge, is you have to own those difficult decisions. And you will hit a point, maybe you're my age, maybe you're a little bit older, where you look back on that career, and you look at some of those difficult decisions, because those decisions have repercussions that you will think about daily. I want you, as you look back on those decisions, to know that you put everything you could in preparing yourself to make them well, in the training, in the discipline, in the physical fitness, and the technical and tactical proficiency, to where you can make the best decision, take the best care that you can of your men. Because once you're in that crucible, it's kind of too late to prepare, right? It's like when you walk on the field to play your sports in a competition, right? It's kind of late to start training. So when I talk about being present, when I talk about taking advantage of this opportunity that you have here and your other training opportunities, what I'm saying that is you will hit points where you will make life-changing decisions. And that may be physical danger, that's part of being an officer in the service. If you're in the business community, you make decisions that impact people's career and how they provide for their wives, their families, their children, right? I want you to prepare as best that you can so you can look back at those decisions and know, I wasn't perfect, maybe there's things I might do differently, but at least I want to know I prepared myself, right? I wasn't climbing. If you could ask your instructors here who've seen officers come in to units, they can smell a mile away where that officer is there positioning for the next job or whether they're there for their men, right? I'm challenging you to be that officer that's there for your men. Take great care of them, and the right things will happen after that. As we think about those decisions, I always think about a day in the summer of 2003. We just completed our first deployment. I was really proud to be part of 1st Battalion 5th Marines during the invasion of Iraq. And I had the hardest conversation I hope I will ever have. And we had a memorial service as a battalion where we remembered those that we hadn't been able to bring back. And it was as emotional as you would expect that to be. And then a few of my NCOs and I went to lunch with a very nice lady named Diana Boyd. And Diana was the mother of a young man that I did not bring back. And I looked at her across the table, and I looked her in the eyes, and I said, "Now I'm sorry I couldn't bring your son home." And I know I did everything that I could, right? And there's things I might do differently. But the reason I can look in the mirror now, and the reason I can hold my head high as a father, as a businessman now, and the way I was able to hold my head high throughout the rest of my time in the Marine Corps is I knew when gentlemen like Colonel Kinney trained me, I took it seriously, right? I was all in, understanding that I was laying a foundation to prepare myself to tackle those challenges that I signed up for by saying I'd like to be a leader. So that's the first lesson. I want you guys to be present, right? I want you to have big goals. I want you to chase them, but I want you to understand you will fulfill those goals, you achieve those things by doing well where you are right now. Does that make sense? Okay? All right. Second thing I want to tell about is I was wounded a couple times. The last time I was wounded is what ultimately led to me being medically retired. I was wounded in Afghanistan and went from Baghuz province to Bagram to Germany to Walter Reed. And I had a bunch of surgeries at Walter Reed. And there's a certain level of confidence that you have to have to be a combat leader, right? And you kind of have to think you're bulletproof. And the younger you are and the more junior you are rank-wise, typically, the more kind of silly in retrospect I was. So I'm sitting there, my leg's been rebuilt essentially. I just finished my 7th surgery. My surgeon, who's this awesome strapping orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Giuliani, said, you know, we moved this around, we did a graft here, we put pins in your femur and all that. And I said, that's great. It's November. And can I just ask a question? Yeah, that's fine. Josh, go ahead and ask a question. It's November, and I paid for this marathon in April. Do you think I'm going to be able to run that? Because I put the money down, and I don't want to waste the money. And he kind of looked at me, and he looked at the other doctors, and he looked at the nurses, and he asked them all to leave. And he pulled a stool, and he sat down, and he looked at me in the eyes, and he said, I want you to understand something. This injury has changed your life. But you get to decide whether it will define your life. But the more time you waste before you acknowledge that it has changed your life, the less life you're going to get to live, right? And the less certain you are in your decision that this will not define your life, the harder the recovery is going to be. And I think about that literally every day. Because for me, I can easily, and I have seen other veterans, some I'm quite close with, let these injuries define them, right? That is a decision I got to make, and I'm so thankful. I'm kind of embarrassed that I really thought I was going to run a marathon 3 months after having my leg rebuilt, but whatever. I'm really thankful that Dr. Giuliani cared enough for me to look at me in the eyes, level set with me on the reality, but then help me understand I still could control how I handled that, right? And what I've seen, we talk about resilience, we talk about how do you deal with hard things. This is world according to Glover stuff, so take it with a grain of salt. My reading is after hard things, whether that is dealing with difficulties in combat, right? Whether that is dealing with hard things in our personal life. I know some of you might have those, I definitely do. We spend a lot of time trying to figure out why did that happen, right? What could I have done to prevent it happening? Why did it happen to me? What could I have possibly done different so this wouldn't happen to me, right? And then we try to convince ourselves it didn't really happen. Or what if it didn't happen? Or what if it gets better? I'm 100% convinced the first step to taking a strong road to recovery after a difficult thing, it might be an injury like mine, which is trivial compared to a lot of other men that I was at Walter Reed with. It may be a difficult family situation. It may be not getting into the school you would get into. The first step is just stopping all that internal negotiation and back and forth and just acknowledging that something happened and viewing the world for what it is, okay? And the second is just letting it go and then focusing on the things that you can control, right? So my first thing I said is I want you guys to be present, right? That means lay a great foundation. Set big goals. Lay a great foundation. Prepare yourself for your challenges ahead. The second thing I want you to leave here is I want you to understand that you should focus on what you control, right? What do you think I think you should do with the things you can't control? Let it go, right? Anytime you spend wishing it didn't rain yesterday, right? Any time that you spend wishing you didn't get bumped from the starting quarterback to the number 2 slot, right? Any time you spend wishing that you got a better grade on your test is time you've absolutely wasted. What you should focus on is, how do I get my starting quarterback spot back, right? I'm going to hit the gym, right? How do I come up with a better plan, get more support from my instructors, make some harder decisions about how I'm going to study so I can do better on that test, right? Any time that you spend after something difficult, right? For me, I'm straight up, guys. Again, I'm pretty imperfect. It probably took me about 3 months as I sat in Walter Reed with my leg in traction and bandages on my leg. It probably took me several months to accept that I would not be able to do the physical things I'd done before. As a lifelong runner, right? I was an early guy at Marsoc, and I thought that was a pretty easy plane to stay there for a while. I wasted those 2 months, right? So my second thing, I want you to be present, number one, and I'm going to say them a bunch, because damn, you're going to remember when you leave here. I want you to be present. I want you to control what you can control, right? Learn from me, right? I wasted that time, I don't want you to, all right? And I want you to let go of the things that you can't control. Does that all make sense? Okay. So after my time at Walter Reed, the Marine Corps sat me down, and they'd taken fantastic care of me at Walter Reed. I could have gone to other hospitals. I chose to stay there because there are really fantastic mission-driven people who took good care of me. But the Marine Corps sat me down. Once my leg stabilized, And they were very good to me in that they said, you have a path you can stay in the Marine Corps to keep the uniform on. But given the realities of my injury and what I'm able to do now, I realized that I would not be able to share the risk with the men if I stayed, right? And I made a very personal decision that I was going to pursue a new mission to represent our generation of veterans in the private sector and try to impact our country in a different way, right? That is a decision I think about. Last night, the colonel said he wish he'd stayed in. Sometimes I do, a lot of times I do, but I'm also very grateful for the opportunities that I've had. So let's talk about my transition. I got out, I had a big plan to go to full-time grad school, or I was going to go to Wall Street, and I was going to go take the world over. And my lovely wife, who dated me during 3 Iraq deployments, right, who pushed me around Walter Reed in a wheelchair for a year, who never questioned what the service asked me to do, who made bigger sacrifices than I ever made in uniform. I sat down with her and said, here's the deal, I'm going to go to Wall Street, I can go here and go to school. And she said, Josh, reminded me, I did 3 deployments with you. I just pushed you around Walter Reed for a year in a wheelchair. We have our first kid coming. I'm not staying. I'm going to stay where we are forever. I'm going to ask you, I don't want to move before I have this baby, right? Now, I'm not a marriage counselor, and you can make your own decisions, but guys, here's a hint. When your wife says something like that to you, what do you think you should say back? Yeah, you say yes, ma'am. That's right? So I said yes, ma'am. So I took a job, which was the only job I could get at the time, because you look at me on paper, right? So, did a lot. I had a trap platoon in the infantry, and I did a lot of hellborn raids in MARSOC. I had the silent drill platoon in the Marine Corps. Those are not really, there's no way to get a civilian silent drill platoon job, right? And with a busted leg and in a place where you can't carry a gun anymore, there's not a lot of places to do helicopter raids for a living, so I had to start over. So the only job I could get in Wilmington, North Carolina, which is a fantastic little town that my wife told me we were going to stay in for a few years, was at a bank. So guys, I never once in my life thought I would work at a bank. But I had to pay the bills, right? And I had a kid coming, I needed health insurance. So I took a job at a bank. I was 33. I just been promoted to major at the same time I was retired. Had lots of great responsibility. And I took a job, an entry-level job, where I was one of 7, and I was 10 years older than everyone. It was literally all their first job out of college, right? And all my buddies are like, man, you took a step back, right? And I'd sit next to these kids who, I had my first child, right? I was dealing with my recovery. I had some pretty interesting life experience, and I'm sitting next to these kids straight out of college. All my buddies would say, man, I don't know how you do that, right? But that's an opportunity. So I said, I'm going to outrun them all. I'm going to outwork them all, right? I'm going to do as well as I can at this job, and then good things will come from that. And from that, when that bank spun out a software company, that CEO saw me, not because I had been in uniform, guys, not because I had a Naval Academy degree, not because people had given me medals or said anything else like that. He saw me working really hard every day. He saw that out of that team of 7 people, even though I had a different qualification set and a different background than the other kids I was working with, I worked them every day. And he pulled me aside and said, I need someone to help me when I do it. And I jumped on it, and I've been with him for 7 years since. So would it have been very easy? And guys, there are lots of times when I was like, man, my buddies are battalion operations officers now, right? My buddies are doing these big jobs. I took the job I could get. I did what was right for my family. I put my head down. I applied myself, and I left it all out in the field, and good things came from that. Okay? So the first thing I said is I want you guys to be present. Okay? The second thing is I want you to control what you can control and let the rest go. And the third thing is, and this is a fantastic piece of good news, you are always in charge of your attitude. And you can always control your attitude, right? You will never in your life be in a position, whether you're in a gunfight, whether you're in the business world, whether you're in a hospital bed, right? Whether you have bad things happen on a personal front, you will never be in a position where you cannot take the things that happen in your life and drive the attitude with which you will get those, right? I'm going to read something. I didn't read a poem, all right? You didn't think that was coming, I am. I keep this as the wallpaper on my phone. It's by a guy named Chuck Swindoll, and it's called Attitude. Has anyone ever heard this poem? All right. I've had this on my wall locker, in my little green platoon commander's book, on my phone since I was 18 years old. And it never gets old to me. And I never really fully, I think, absorbed this message. I'm going to read it to you. This is Attitude by Charles Swindoll. The longer I live, the more I realize the impact of attitude on life. Attitude to me is more important than facts. It is more important than the past, than education, than money, than circumstances, than failures, than successes, than what other people think, say, or do. It is more important than appearance, giftedness, or skill. It will make or break a company, a church, a home. The remarkable thing is we have a choice every day regarding the attitude we embrace for that day. We cannot change our past. We cannot change the fact that people will act in a certain way. We cannot change the inevitable. The only thing we can do is play the one string that we have, and that is our attitude. I'm convinced that life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I react to it. And so it is with you. We're in charge of our attitudes. Okay? That thing will never get old, and it'll stick with me forever. You have a friend or a buddy or a family member, where no matter what happens, it's like, man, woe is me, right? Oh my gosh, why does this always happen to me, right? Why is everybody out to get me, okay? And do you know somebody that every time something happens that might be challenging, they see an opportunity, right? So we brought in someone. I've been the starting quarterback. We brought in someone that just joined the school, and they're a little bit better than me, and they beat me out for the number one slot, now at number 2, right? The negative person who doesn't understand that they own their attitude, who doesn't understand that ownership of their attitude will control the trajectory of their life, the negative person is just saying, man, why did that happen? I've been in this school for 4 years. My last year, someone comes in and they're better. Man, that really is not fair, right? What does the winner say? This person's going to make me run harder than I would have had to run. I'm going to be that much better, right? And I'm going to get in the weight room. I'm going to get on the playing field. I'm going to listen to my coaches. I'm going to get in my playbook, and I'm going to beat them, right? That is that winning attitude. And I'm going to really challenge you guys as you think throughout the rest of the year, throughout the rest of your time here, and throughout the rest of your careers, you're going to hit points where you feel like you're out of control. You're going to feel like you got a raw deal. You're going to feel like someone's out to get you. You cannot control those things. But how can you always control that situation? You can control how you process it, right? You can control that inner conversation that you have with yourself. Who talks to yourself? We all do somehow, right? This guy's like, I don't talk to myself. Dude, you're talking to yourself. Yeah. We all have those conversations with ourselves. Why am I in this position, right? The way you handle adversity, the way you handle those difficult decisions is 100% based on your attitude. And there is no situation you will ever be in your whole lives, regardless of which route you take, where you cannot control that. So 3 things. I want you guys to be present, lay a great foundation. You have an awesome opportunity with men and women that are investing themselves in you here to lay that foundation. Be present, soak it up, and regardless of where you go, you're going to have all the options that you can hope to have in the world. First thing, be present. Second thing, control what you can control and let the rest go. And number 3, never forget that no matter what situation you're in, what happens, you always control your attitude. I want you to own that. Okay? I'm good now. Thank you.